All right, everybody, welcome to Homestaging Talk Show Live. I'm Jenny Norris, your host. Let me know if you guys can hear me. All right, so I am sitting on the floor in my family room right now because my desktop sound wasn't working. So welcome, everybody. Please let me know, those of you that are tuning in, if you can hear me, please. You can type a comment if you're not able to. Obviously, you can't talk to me live. Anyhow, so this is Jenny Norris with Homestaging Talk Show Live. The show is brought to you by the International Association of Home Staging Professionals and the chairwoman of this wonderful association. And we have thousands of members worldwide. We're the largest and longest running home staging industry trade association. And we just love being able to share what works with the industry, with the colleagues, talk to mentors, with business people, and share with you what works. So, I'm not sure what's going on with my desktop. So I'm on my laptop sitting on the ground in my family room, and just be warned that you might see some activity around me with the kitten that we have. He's darting around. So anyhow, we've got a great show for you. Got some three wonderful guests, Kevin Tane, Theresa Siglio, and Andrea Faber, who'll be sharing coming up. But so before I bring them in, I did want to give you some announcements. So of course, today is Wednesday. And thanks to Andrea, we have our hashtag Stage Your Wednesday, hashtag Raise the Standard. And so make sure that when you're posting your different projects and so forth, you're out and about, use those hashtags so that we can, create a following and just kind of have some fun for Hump Day. We're midway through the week. So thank you for that. And today we're really talking about being positive and productive in your business and what you've been doing and what other people have been doing while they have been on shelter in place and safer in place. So we do have some opportunities for education. Here is our conference. Yay! Our conference in September in Denver. It's looking pretty positive that we should be able to hold it live, but I won't know until our state finally determines that. And we have our 3 keynote speakers we've had on the show. Chris Widener is our business keynote. Johnny Fowler is our marketing keynote, and Ravi is our global diversity expert, cultural diversity expert, keynote speaker for that designation. And just so you know, Chris Widener actually did a special segment on thriving and during this time, and we shared it with all of our members and put it on our IAHSP page. And so make sure you listen to that. It's 10 minutes long, almost 11 minutes, and it's very, very insightful. So take some time to watch that. And check out the conference, IAHSPconexpo.com. You can find the information on our site, IAHSP.com. And again, we'll either be having a live conference or we will do a virtual one, either way. So we will have a conference. We just don't know if it's going to be in the cloud or in the Mile High City. We don't know. Okay, so education is super important. And so while you are having a little bit of extra time, there are things that you could be doing. So we offer, of course, our investor staging consultant designation. You can learn how to work with investors and specialize in that. Buyer trends specialist takes you through all the different things that a buyer wants to see, who's buying what and why, the 5 different demographic groups, exterior elevations of properties and how to identify the style, what's trending on the inside, and then also industry terminology. So that's really a great course. And then our luxury home staging designation is also for those who want to specialize in working with luxury clients. And so these are all online courses you can take to get some added credentials and so make your time productive. After our conference, by the way, we do have our advanced stager training, which will be a 2-day workshop, and both Chris Widener and Johnny Fowler will be joining us for that to give some additional insight to those business owners that are attending. And this is for 6-figure and above business owners. So if you qualify to attend, please register for that. Let's see here. We also had our short-term rental specialist. So Amy Powers was teaching this class. It is recorded, so you can earn this designation as well. She'll be teaching another live version of this on May 28th. So May 28th, you can actually take it live with her. Regardless, you can do the recorded webinar, and if you have questions, you can always email her. But she's done a great job of putting together some very detailed information that she has shared with everybody who has signed up for this course. So earn your short-term rental specialist designation. Again, May 28th, it'll be live. And you can also just take the recorded version. You can find all of those on the IAHSP.com site. Last week or 2 weeks ago, I did talk about statistics. We shared them again on our membership call for IAHSP. I have a group in Australia that actually wants to interview me on the stats. And so the main thing is these are here for all of us to use in the industry. So we didn't make them private. They are public. We want the public to find these. You want to share them with your clients and the public. And so make sure that they know that these stats are out, because these help give credibility to what we do. And so it's on the homestagingstats.com. If I can type that in here without wiggling my computer too much. Homestaging.com. And so if you go there, the 34-page report is there for you. And in addition, there are some other graphics. For example, this one. I love this. Staged luxury properties sell up to 20 times faster than non-staged properties. Thank you, Brad Filter, for the correct terminology. I had put unstaged, but it's actually non-staged. And so I appreciate everybody's feedback. When we share these things, please feel free to let us know what you think about the different images and so forth. But that one's great to use when you stage luxury properties. And then we also have this one is for regular properties, up to 30 times faster than non-staged properties in the same category. Awesome statistic. I love this one, up to 20% more. This one wasn't a surprise to me. These are right in line with what NAR has reported in their statistical surveys. And so clients can get up to 20% more, and it depends on the property, the location, the price point, and so forth. And oftentimes realtors will actually list the house at a better starting price when it's staged. And as I shared on our call on Monday, we need to be asking our agents if that's what they're doing, if they have uplifted the price at all before it even goes on the market, because it's staged, because it presents so well. And if so, how much more is that versus if the seller didn't do anything, what they have started at as a list price. So let's start asking those questions to get the data. But that's a great statistic. Then we also have this one available for you, $1,500 to $6,000 more vacant property, and this is for a 30-day term. So make sure people were quantifying this based on a day term, even if they might do a 45 or a 60 or a 90 as standard. That includes a delivery, setup, and removal. And then here we have for luxury properties, 2,000 to 10,000 or more for a 30-day term. So people who are watching this, you're going to get a luxury staging for $2,000 in an area where it would normally be 10. This is just this price might be in an area where the median or the luxury price of the property would be $400,000 or $500,000, because that's 2x the median. So just keep that in mind. But I think these statistics are really great for you to share. So please make sure you do that. Thanks, Vanetta. Hey, Michelle. So I've got Keely and Amandi. Good. Welcome. And Kevin, thank you. I know you're here. Mary Beth and June, thanks for tuning in. Please ask your questions. We can chat live with our guests, so you can type your questions in the chat area. And of course, our theme is fear, getting rid of fear. Fear has two meanings: forget everything and run and hide, or face everything and rise, and the choice is ours. And so this is very true. We also hear false evidence appearing real, which we've taught. But either way, I love this thing, and I am choosing the latter: face everything and rise. And it has been kind of a scary time for a lot of people financially, and working to stay viable. And there's some states where they never shut down, and they've been very productive. So Texas, for example, you guys have been very fortunate that your state didn't shut down, and then other states have still been on restricted activity for real estate. And so it'll slowly resume, and we can't predict the future, but we're not going to hide in fear, because fear just paralyzes people, and is completely internal, causes stress, which none of us need. Stress causes lots of other things to manifest. And so releasing that and then projecting outward, it's not that we're not concerned about things that are happening. And when I took my class, it was taught these words from Barb: fear, is false evidence appearing real, but worry is internal, and that is caused by things that we're afraid of and so forth. And 92% of what we worry about statistically never even comes true. 92%. So think about that. So different temperaments and personalities, some tend to be more glasses half empty and so forth. And so if you find yourself sitting and just thinking about all the, possible terrible scenarios that could play out, and, you're worrying about things, that's an internal, that's causing you stress. And so instead, making it an external concern is better because that can lead to action. And so if I'm concerned about volume, if I'm concerned about business and so forth, I can take action and do marketing, do some more marketing, or come up with some creative ideas. And so we're going to talk about some of that today with our guests that are on the show. And just don't be afraid. In fact, those of you that, are read the Bible at all, that is the number one command. I think it's in there more than any other thing in the Bible is about don't be fearful. And so to me, it's very meaningful because, again, fear just paralyzes us and causes stress. So I just took a look at Kevin in my waiting room. My God, you are too funny. Hi. I thought I would bring all of you guys on at the same time so we could kind of have this group chat. So first I'll bring in Kevin Tane because you're my first little dot here. So Kevin's counting down. He's got his hands in his mask on.
Hi, everyone. How you doing?
So forth. I didn't know people would wear those. And then here comes Theresa Siglio from Jacksonville. And then we have Andrea Fisher.
Hi, dear.
Hey.
Okay, there you guys are. Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome, welcome. So nice to have you with us. And I appreciate you taking the time to be on the show.
Yeah.
So we'll start. I'm going to say it's just for people who don't know who you are. So I'm going to have you introduce yourself. So Kevin, we'll start with you. Let people know who you are, where you stage, how long you've been in the industry. And your hair looks great. It's not too long.
Thank you very much. I'm tucking it back, and I'm wearing my best, fanciest sweatpants for you tonight. So I've got the highest couture on for you. Yes.
He has a shirt that says stager because miracle worker isn't an official title. Is that what it says?
Yes, that's what I'm wearing. I'm wearing our IAHSP shirt.
I love it. Yep.
Yep.
All right. So tell people who you are and where you're from.
Kevin Tane. I work in the Los Angeles region, Southern California area. And my company's name is Identity Home Staging and Design.
How long have you been in the industry?
15 glorious years.
Believe that. It's gone by so fast.
I know it has. It really has.
Yeah, because it's you look back, you think like, oh, it hasn't been that long, but that 15 years, that's amazing.
But you look back at your work and you're like, oh my gosh, I would never do that again. And I'm like, oh.
That's so true. I shared some of my first stagings. In fact, my first vacant stage, I still have the pictures of it. And it was a little house in Roseville near Sacramento. And at that time, this was 2003, and they hadn't started staging vacant houses. So this literally was one of the first ones. And so I didn't have money to buy furniture. So I brought in my purple chair and ottoman from my bedroom. And my plan was to put the purple chair in the bedroom, but I couldn't get it through the door. So I just had the ottoman in there with like a sad Michael's tree, like a hat box, I think a throw, and like one piece of art. And then so sad. And then in the living room, I had a chair, like a little rug, a little vignette set up. I mean, the house sold right away. It sold, and the house next to it was vacant, and it didn't sell. So it was appropriate for the time, but catch me dead doing that now.
Right. Yeah, mine was like circa claim jumper, like circa like 1992 was my staging, my first staging. I was like, oh my god, pot shelves and like with like everything decorated. It was too much.
That's great. All right, we'll go down to Theresa. Tell people who you are, where you're from, how long you've been doing this.
Hello, Theresa Siglio from Jacksonville, Florida. I am the owner of Restage Jacksonville, and I've been in the industry for 3 years. So talking about your first staging, I just was going through, was working on my social media, putting pictures together, and I found my first, and it's cringeworthy. I would never show anybody. Never. It's so bad. Oh my gosh. But
3 years ago, you're still a baby in the industry. You're still a youngin'.
That's why I'm always reaching out to you guys, because I just keep learning and growing and evolving. So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. And then Andrea, let us know who you are, where you're from, how long you've been in the business.
Hi. Yeah. So I'm Andrea, and I'm from the Chicago area. Yeah, I am Brazilian, but I started, home staging a little before I knew that was called staging. And I have this startup company just turned 1 year, like in April. So yeah, it's called Staged Camera.
Stage Costa, yes, and you're in the Chicago area, and you have connected with Paloma because we are launching in Brazil.
Yeah.
Yes, and it got a little bit delayed because of the COVID, but we are moving forward with that, and so I know that you guys will be working together on that, which we greatly appreciate, and I'm very excited to have you guys on. So, there's been a lot of social media posts and so forth, and I see some are I can see people that are out there working and are productive, and others I can tell don't have a lot going on because. I'm trying to say this in the kindest way because of what they're posting. And it's important not to get sucked into like rabbit holes and negativity and so forth. And so I wanted to ask you guys, what have you done to stay positive? Let's start with that one, positive during this time, because it can be scary. So, Kevin, what have you been doing?
Well, I've been doing a lot of work on my back of house. That's what I've been shaping up. The front of house is very solid. We did qualify for the PPP loan. Thank God. That really helped us out a lot. So that allows us to keep the front of house in shape and moving forward. So the back of house is what I've been working on currently. A lot of accounting. I've been breaking down all of the accounting expenses all the way back from 2011 is what I've been doing, just to see where my expenses are going towards and what I can actually project for future years, not 2020, but 2021, what I'll be investing in towards for future furniture, how much I should be doing if spending on trucks and labor. And we're looking at cutting down the truck cost, at least by leasing a truck. So we're looking at ways to cut costs as well at the same time too. It's a good way to back up and do some double checks and see which ways you can cut costs and kind of trim down the edges to really make sure that your business is running in the most prime way, in the most lean way during the times when you really need to do it, and prime yourself to be really ready for expansion when you need to do it come when everything with COVID-19 ends and we all start to get a lot more business coming in. We're going to need to have to dial into that capital. So that's what I've been doing.
Which is really smart. And I know it's painful doing the whole, P&L and figure out where your money's going. I don't use QuickBooks. I mean, I own it. And then I even had like the little scanner for the receipts. Ask me how many times I've used that. I just don't like doing the paperwork side, but during tax time, you end up seeing just how much expenditures you've had. And so this is a great time to see how can I cut back or how can I use my money more wisely. And so that's excellent. And I took the frame off you guys on purpose because the logo was over Kevin's face a little bit. So that's why I removed it. So that's why you all of a sudden saw a change on the screen. So that's great. So Andrea, what have you been doing to stay positive?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I think it was a journey at the beginning because we were, I don't know, like going through the emotions here, even with my little kids, was a little too much. And I definitely, I think I felt the fear phase. And but I don't know, I think the artistic side in us, it's, I allowed myself to feel those deep emotions because then I at some point I was like, okay, what I'm going to do with it? Emotions are just, this little light, dashboard, what I'm going to do with it. And then I just decided to reach out. Okay, let's do something that I can share my gift with other people. And, I just decided to work on my social media and spark that little light on people's lives. My Chicago chapter sisters decided to go on board with that staging challenge video, which was super fun. So yeah, and then we all, got that feeling of being together. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, if you can put while we're talking, I don't know if you can grab the link and stick it in the comments, but I would love for people to see it. It's awesome. So she's talking about the pillow challenge for those of you that I don't know if you saw the video or not, but you guys did such a great job that I don't think anyone else wants to put one out because you're just so good. You guys all look good.
Oh, no, please do it. If you need help, I can help putting the video together, edit, and, just send the video to me. I can do that. I can help because this was a fun exercise. And then I also post like blog posts about what can you do in your home that you're stuck now, shop around your rooms and move things. That's what we do, right? We shop around the room when it's unoccupied. And I just told them, let's just do that. And I got great feedback on that. And then working with my social media has been fun too. So I just found ways to, lift people up and lift myself up too. And yeah, that's what I've been kind of focused on, being effective actually, because of course my business was impacted. So I was trying to be more like effective and looking about have the end goal in mind, and what Kevin said, like just look forward for the future, what's going to look like. Yeah.
That's great. And I love that. And I love that you thought about other people. How could you help them and encourage them? And then that takes the focus off ourselves when we're helping somebody else. So that's really, really important. Theresa, how about you? What have you been doing to stay positive?
Actually, a little bit of both of what Kevin and Andrea. Hi, Andrea. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So I actually did, right before the pandemic hit, we did move into another warehouse. Actually, it's right next door to the one I had. So that was pretty scary when that happened, because we did stop. Florida was shut down, so we couldn't stage. But I did work in the warehouse. We did a lot of organizing in the warehouse, just getting it ready, because I knew I'm ready. I'm ready. It's starting to pick up. I'm starting to get the jobs again. So I'm ready to go, which I'm thankful for being prepared. But at that time, a lot of the destagings were coming back. So I was a little overwhelmed with that because I'm trying to stay away from movers and people and not be around them. And it was really, I'm around my mom, so I didn't want anything to happen to her. So I was being really cautious there. And then, like Andrea had said, I'm not a big social media fan, and people that know me know that, but I will tell you, I have dug deep into the social media in this time, and I have scheduled months of it going out. So I feel very proud about that. And one thing I did do, which, I wasn't 100% comfortable with, but that was kind of doing the virtual online, offering those services to clients. And that was with the Occupied. And I really never did the Occupied. It was always the vacant and the luxury. So I wound up, working on my social media, getting my website up and running. So I'm excited. It's looking really good, and I'm very happy. Yeah.
Which is really good. So you guys all kind of talked about productivity as well. What you've been doing in the downtime when you couldn't actually get out there and stage, and made yourself, you did paperwork, you helped other people, you organized your warehouse. And for us, on the productive side, same thing that we had, to keeping the warehouse organized. We had a lot of things that came back, a lot of houses. And so trying to keep things moving. And our state was shut down for about 3 weeks, where I really couldn't do a whole lot, and we're slowly opening back up. But right now we should be doing about 10 to 12 stagings a week, and we're doing about 3 to 4. And so the volume is still impacted. And so staying positive and not going in the fear box is important. And so, think about, like, what have you been listening to any shows, or did you, like Scott Hansen, for example, did a free complimentary, get rid of that word free, a complimentary session with people who wanted to attend that. I thought that was really, really well done. It was all about mindset. Yeah. And so being able to, one of the things he shared, I believe on this segment was, or maybe he was just on the phone with me. Anyhow, I don't remember. It's like a blur. But he said the worst thing people could do in the morning when they wake up is to check your email. Mm-hmm. And because then that takes us down right away into the, oh my gosh, I got this fire to fight. I got these different things. And so to keep our positive mindset, things that we could be doing, first thing is, what he shared, he does is he listens to a YouTube channel, or he taps into YouTube, and it's really this kind of pump you up, really, go for it, really exciting. And then he even said he'd been starting to jog earlier in the morning, changed his exercise routine. So he's out there, he's got his headset on, he's listening to people that are going to really pump him up and motivate. And that's what drives him. Mm-hmm. And so for other people, might be just listening, watching, or reading an inspirational message in the mornings. The first thing, like what's the first thing you put in your head when you get up these days? So what are you doing first thing when you get up? And there's no right or wrong. And I've had one day where I broke down and cried, and just because of all the stress. And thank God for the PPP loans. And I know now we have the whole challenge of the forgiveness application, which is not easy to fill out. And I'm going to wait until the term is over, because they're asking us for numbers for that. but I was grateful to receive that. And that was very stressful because, you know, some people got it the first round, but for those of us that, you know, I just went to Chase Bank and thought, okay, well, that's where I bank and that's who's going to help me. And then to get no traction at all, and to have so many companies that cheated, that was really very frustrating to me. And I did my best not to, you know, have that infiltrate the rest of my life. But I didn't do a good job. And so literally one day I just was like so stressed out, I just cried. I mean, everything was kind of setting me off. And so if you guys have had days like that too, I mean, that's reality. So what do you do first thing when you get up, Kevin? What are you doing?
Unfortunately, the first thing I do when I get up is I do check my emails, because that's the people that have come in during the time that I'm not actually actively looking for them to come in. So I do check my emails to get myself right back into business, because most of my life has not been business. I unfortunately got really sick coming in from Vegas market. So I had to shut down my business operations a couple weeks earlier before COVID-19 hit nationally and worldwide. Sorry, that's my kitty cat wants to come be the star.
Okay.
There's Kuro Nico wants to be the star.
Right.
So I didn't really have some work before then, and we don't even know. I mean, it's possible that I could have possibly contracted COVID-19. We don't know.
I think you did. Well, just your symptoms. You said you couldn't taste or smell.
For 5 days. I could not smell or taste a thing for 5 days. And I had like porridge and stuff like that, and I could taste texture. I could feel the texture, but there was absolutely no salt, no sweet, no savory, nothing came along with it for about 5 days.
Wow.
And I've had that with like a really bad cold where I'm so stuffed up that my sense of taste goes away, and you're right, you just taste texture, but you had all the other symptoms too. You had fever, and I mean, I had been told while
Tamiflu did not work on me. I had a flu shot, so I came back home early, and I had to kind of close down my business a little bit sooner than normal. So that thankfully the PPP loan kind of really kicked in, because that really helped and saved us. It really did. During the time when I wasn't able to be able to look for work, because when all of a sudden the nation closed down and the state of California closed down, then all of a sudden, like, there really was no work on top of me having no work on top of that. So I had to really rely upon the system to see if it can help, and it really did. I banked through Bank of America. I did not get through the first time. The PPP loan was exhausted, but the second time it was automatic, and it's already listed on my account. They have everything listed there, so it's I feel very safe when very fortunate working with the Bank of America and qualifying through them to get the PPP loan, because it literally saved my business. I could have gone under. This was really scary for me, but we actually made it through it. And now we're starting to get more business coming in through. We are still open to doing video consultations and vacant stagings under certain conditions. We make sure the property's been completely sterilized and clear of people for 72 hours. Then we just get in there and we stage it within 1 day and we're done. So, business has picked up again, but I unfortunately was on that earlier set where right after Vegas market, business closed up for me when everyone was still taking business, and then they closed down. So I had a little bit more of a catch up to do as far as finances and income came, to make sure the business kept running. But we made it. And I'm very, very fortunate. I'm so fortunate. I'm so grateful. So incredibly grateful.
And I think, there was quite a few people who got ill after market. So I kind of wonder, I don't know if you've been tested to see if you're immune, like if you were exposed. It wouldn't surprise me, because that was kind of where it was here, but we didn't know it was. And so how many employees do you have, Kevin?
I have 5, 5 to 7 right now. Like we had one that was let go, unfortunately. And then we have some other people that have come in just on the more of the moving and driving side, the movers, the truck driver side, that are coming in to help out during our time. So during this time with the PPP loan, we actually can hire more people, which looks better towards our case. So
Right.
we can actually stimulate the economy. So we're actually doing a good thing. We're really happy that we can actually hire more people during this time to get them some kind of income coming in during COVID-19. So it's really important to make sure that we're still out there servicing our clients and, under certain protections and safety, but we still do it. I mean,
Yeah.
we can still do it. Take that leap of faith and just run with it. Make that leap, because if you're going to make that leap, every time I've been asked to make that leap of faith, I've always landed. And right now, that's what I feel is happening. I'm being asked to make that leap of faith again. Can you land on this one? And I know I can.
That's good. And we don't have employees, so I didn't apply for the PPP. I probably could have done it as a sole proprietor. I did EIDL, and because that was the first thing that was available, and so and then I never heard. And all of a sudden, last week I got communication from the SBA like, okay, just send us your voided check and account information, and you were approved for X amount, and so we'll get it for the staging company and then also for training company in the association. So we got the PPP for that side because we have 17 employees that are part of that, and nobody's been terminated or anything like that. So, but it was a little scary the first couple of months. February, March was lean, and but it's about shifting and adjusting. So I'm happy that worked for you and to be able to stay viable. So I am thankful for the different loans that are out there for people. The EIDL, that's the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, I think is what the acronym stands for. That one is not a forgivable one. It is, but it's only at a 3% interest, so it's very, very low. So even after a year, if you start having to pay that back, it's not going to be terrible for people, and if it helps you get through, and you don't have to accept the full amount, but anyway, it's been helpful for sure. So, Andrea, what did you do? What do you do first thing in the morning? And somebody's asking if you can share your pillow video. So,
yeah, I'll post soon. Yeah, first thing in the morning, I just try to get focused and like Theresa mentioned too, like I'm trying to create just this feed, what I'm gonna share and how I can lift people up. But I also got to get focused on, because now I have one more job, which is the e-learning with the kids too. So I'm not a teacher. I had to learn how to do that part too. So it's one more role. But and then now I also, in the midst of this, I was hired by a company also to work with them, and I'm looking forward to work with this new company called Paxson, and we just had these discussions like it was yesterday, how we're gonna get back in business, how we're gonna, what we're doing to be effective and productive at home. So it's we are starting this conversation, how it's gonna be like to be back in business, what kind of gear we're gonna wear to protect ourselves, and what kind of situations. So yeah, what I'm doing in the morning is just focusing, like, how can I lift myself up? How I can, lift people up? So I'm working on sharing things that are fun. So there is an opportunity that might come my way, and this could be really fun. I can't share many details now, but that could be really fun for my business, like very, very nice for my business. But this was just only working on and understanding more about the hashtags and the times to post. And so this was just simple, like without leaving my chair. Just something like reposting work that I have done that best portray my aesthetics. Things like what can I do now that I am stuck at home, but I want still to get moving somehow, because I feel like I'm a little tired in a way. But so yeah, Jenny, it's been tough. And then I'm also working on my website to make it be more towards e-consults and e-design, which I didn't have this before. I mean, I offered, but it was not like built for it. So now I have a page for it. I am starting to find the channels. I started this initiative with the One E-Design. So I'm trying to find the right channel, like where I can help these people out. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm still in the phase of try and error and, just figuring things out and twisting and tweaking.
Which is good. It's good to, to adjust. And so is the company that you're working with, is it a real estate company or staging company or just a third party?
They are all together. They are a moving company. They do a lot of work with seniors, and they are starting now with the staging part of the business. So this is new for them. One of our, joined them, and then she just pulled me in. So I'm very excited what is going to come out of it. And in the midst of this, I'm still trying to, shift my own company towards the e-part, the e-design, the e-console, the e-staging. So yeah, there's a lot going on. But we're just ramping up, getting ready for, what's going to look like soon.
This is great. And I see Kathy filed. Hey, Kathy. Hey, Suzanne. And then June wrote, when I am down, I talk to Theresa. So with that, Theresa, which is so sweet. So what do you do to stay positive? What do you do first thing in the morning?
I'm always calling June. I'm like, June, I need help. Please help me. She's always a great go-to person, and I really, really appreciate her being there for me. So basically what I do is I'm kind of guilty of picking up the phone, but I do put it down. I can't get caught up in that. I was on that call. I was actually de-staging when Scott had that call. So I was trying to listen, and then I needed my GPS, so I couldn't listen because I needed to get off. But I did catch that he said that. And I do feel that way because you can just get sucked into that, for hours if you do. So I started taking up reading. It's not something I enjoy doing, but I've been hearing a lot about this book.
Oh, yeah.
That was me in the day. So I'm going back to find me again. So it's a really good read. I recommend you get it. So it's been helping me a lot. What else have I been doing? Has anybody listened to Prince EA? Did you ever hear of him, Jenny? Prince EA?
Prince, like the prince of a country?
The letter A, yeah. He's he's a motivational speaker. He was also like a rapper in the day. And he said something that really resonated with me. And he talked about the graveyard and how it's the richest place on earth because everybody's dreams get buried there. And at this time when, it was like, books were supposed to be, written and they weren't, and businesses were supposed to get off the ground and they didn't, and inventions were supposed to be made and they, it never happened because people were fearful to go ahead and do it. So I've really been listening to him. I like him a lot. He's a millennial, but that's fine. He's kind of opened my eyes to a couple things. So I have been enjoying that. And I need that. I do that a lot in my life. So
that's interesting. And I got goosebumps when you said that because it's profound when you think about it, that graveyards, that's where dreams, a lot of people, they do die and they didn't accomplish what they wanted to out of fear or lack, or sometimes it's what they were planning, it was the wrong timing to make it happen. And, and I don't want that for any of us to be able to, live the life that you want for yourself and use this as a vehicle, use home staging and your business and your passions over as a vehicle to have the life that you want. So, because it doesn't stop with staging. And when we're fortunate that we get to use our passion and be able to, help other people in our business. But then what does that allow us to ultimately have in our lives and, to be fulfilled. So that sounds like that's a book or it's a book.
He's he's just like a motivational speaker out there. He's got a lot of great messages. So you can find him. And like I said, it's Prince EA, the letter E, the letter A. And I think he's on stages, a lot of stages. So he kicks off like events, to get people going in the audience and stuff. Yeah, he's pretty sharp. I like him a lot. And he said something along the lines like champions are made in the off season, and that's kind of where we are right now, right? It's like we are there. And, if you stayed, relevant, where we all try to stay relevant, with our businesses, we're going to come out like we're ready to go, we're ready to go, and it's going to be good. So.
I love that champions in the off season because that's when they're working out. Nope, the cameras are off. They're not playing their game, but they're still working out. They're still bettering themselves. They're still doing what they can to be the best they can be. And so that's kind of like you're right. We've been sort of in an off season. And so those people that have just, I've done my fair share of watching TV. It's usually, I come walking down around 10 p.m. and then, we'll catch a show. And John's always like, we got to go to bed. I'm like, I just finished. I want to have a couple of shows to watch just to kind of let my mind, mindless stuff. But people that are, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of people that they just, because you're stuck at home, you get in this rut of, you know, really not doing nothing. The hours just kind of pass by. Either they're sleeping, they're, you know, I know in our state, they kept the marijuana dispensaries open, which I thought was funny. And they had long lines to get stuff. So between the alcohol, all the liquor stores. So we don't have like big liquor stores like BevMo or anything like that. So there's all these little mom and pops, but they kept those open. And so my concern is, and I'm, you know, people coping with this, there's a lot more usage of drugs and alcohol that are going on. And now we're seeing anger, people fighting with each other. And there was an incident down our street. There was like 3 or 4 cop cars that went screaming down there in an ambulance. And evidently there was some incident in a house. It was some guy. It was either like, you know, abuse or attack of some sort. And I'm thinking like people are kind of get cooped up. You get a little crazy. So being able to have an outlet that's positive, whether it's go for a walk or, you know, change up your routine. But if you're stuck in a rut and also just feeling like, I don't know where to begin. I have so much I need to accomplish. I don't know where to begin. Maybe getting some guidance. You know, June Carter's on here. She does awesome coaching. Being able to get some focus about, you know, because we've talked about social media, we talked about websites, we talked about people organizing their warehouses, doing their accounting. So just between the 4 of us, these are things that have happened. And if you're listening, you're thinking like, I haven't done any of that, or I need to do that too. We'll just pick one and start with that and be productive, and then maybe make a list of things that you would like to accomplish. Because, you know, it's sort of a gift to have this extra time that we didn't really plan on. And Andrea, my hat's off to you. I did homeschool my kids for 5 years by choice.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's not easy to do that and also then run a business and so forth. And so any of the parents that are out there that were sort of forced into this role, some are doing a really great job. And my sister's a teacher, and she said half her kids are not attending the online classes like they're supposed to. They were all provided the materials and everything for that. But so it's basically like they're truant. I mean, they're just not attending. So I'm like, well, what's going to happen in the fall? Will they be able to leave that grade and advance to the next one? And she's in California, and she's just like, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. So parents that actually are following through and teaching their kids, you know, have a hat to you, because I know that's not easy. And it takes a lot of patience. So she posted the staging challenge, pillow challenge video on there, so you guys can watch that after the segment. So let's talk about your markets too. So what have you found with, you know, like the agents did? Was there a shift in and then, you know, wanted to use staging? Was there pent up demand? You know, what have you found with your market? So Kevin, what have you seen as a change?
The market definitely changed for us, and we started getting a lot of video conferencing consultations in during the COVID-19 time. We started getting a lot of those, switching things over to Facebook or FaceTime or Zoom. And then, as of late, we have received a lot of requests for vacant properties that need to be staged. So, and even we were getting a lot of requests for occupied homes, those ones we unfortunately can't do quite yet, because there's mixing in material between old and new and everything else like that together. So that's kind of hard to do. But the vacant, I mean, the occupied consultations, the video consultations have completely taken off. And then the vacant requests have still stayed popular as well too. So we didn't completely shut down. We still had some forced D stages that we needed to do, and then along came like a move over kind of opportunity. So we just kind of moved it over. So we kind of played it case by case, and at that point we didn't fully shut down. That happened because I had a shutdown earlier than anticipated, so I had to take on the work to keep moving forward. But
did you have any clients that asked you to defer collecting on inventory use fees?
No, we had some people ask for discounts, so I did offer to one client a small discount, just because of COVID-19 and everything else as well too. But the property did ultimately sell, and then we just destaged it yesterday. So, you know, that was the only property that we've only had a situation with. Everyone else has been pretty much understanding that, you know, with the situation, the properties are staying on a little bit longer. But I don't have that many properties that are beyond my initial contract right now. Most of them are selling very fast. The flip or flop houses are selling like within weeks. We're dropping it off and we're picking up within like a month. So we know those rooms are selling very, very quickly.
Yeah, we have one high end. It's like almost a $4 million property, and so they immediately, they were the only ones that actually asked for a forgiveness of an entire month, which is a significant amount. And I said, I can't do an entire month. I deferred for 2 weeks, but it had only been on the market for 2 weeks. And because they initially put it on as a pocket listing, they didn't put it on the MLS. So they wasted 2 weeks doing that. So I wrote to them and I said, even in a good market, your house wouldn't sell in the first month at that price point. You're looking for a particular buyer. So I said, I'm not in a position to forgive all of that. And those people that are listening, if you have clients that are asking you to do that and you do choose to do that, you can actually write off that loss. Or you could also tell them, I'll defer. I'm not going to forgive it. I'll defer it. And then at closing, I want that money, because they're still going to net a profit at the close. And it's not, our piece is so small compared to everybody else, what they net out of the process. And so you don't have to give up income. But I think it's, I think a lot of stagers, some people had a lot of people asking for deferments and using this as a reason for them not to be able to pay. And I'm sure some of them are legit. Some of them probably are just, take advantage of the situation. So I hope a lot of stagers didn't find themselves doing that. And, but that's good. I'm glad that you didn't have a lot of that happen. So how about you,
Yeah.
Andrea? What have you found? Is your market, because I know you guys had to shut down in Illinois. So what is it like now?
Yeah, I think I just feel like we're going to start to pick up again, and things will start to get back to a new normal, of course. But I'm just very optimistic that things will shift in a good way now. And like I was telling you, we're starting to have these conversations about how this is going to look like. And this other company also works with estate sales. So I just have a good sense that, the future will look much brighter than what it is now. But yeah, definitely we felt here, there are some of us that I still kept on going, but they did feel that there is this decrease in volume, and yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which is scary, especially, Theresa, I know you said you just moved into a larger warehouse and then all of a sudden this hit. And I don't know if your property manager was cool about helping defer some of the costs. Ours did allow us to pay what we could. It's just not forgiven. I mean, I still have to catch up, but we are going to have to come up with the funds. But they were cool about it. But not everybody was like that. So, what did you find in your situation?
I never asked them, Jenny. I probably should have. We paid the bills, like we just went and paid the bills. I didn't want to be in that situation because I'm new there with these guys, I'm fairly new since September of last year. So I have a good rapport with the property manager. He's been really good to me. He's done amazing things in the warehouse for me, like giving me 2 brand new bathrooms. Like those bathrooms were nasty.
I know.
We did the floor and the commode and I was over the moon about it, but I didn't think of asking them, I didn't want to be that person. So we had the funds, we just paid the bills. As far as the market, I did find like the agents that I'm working with that are the top listing agents, they definitely kept moving forward. And then there were the others that decided, we're going to just step it back. So, we had a little bit of both. So the top listers, they were showing properties. I mean, they were taking the precautions of like staying in their car, and the potential buyers would go in and they would have conversations via the phone while they're in the house. So whatever they could do to, get the property sold, they did. And it was selling like, a lot of listings, a lot of sales, a lot of pending. So Florida was hot, so I'm excited because I know, it's ready to go, and so am I. So that's kind of where we are.
And I think attitude, so keeping a positive attitude, which all 3 of you are doing that, and outlook, and again, not going into the fear box, because I feel like if somebody were on the listening and they're thinking like, oh, well, my market's slow and there's going to be no business and it's going to hurt me for the rest of the year, and they start saying this, that's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So whatever you believe about what's going to happen, you're right. And when you have an attitude of expectation that things are going to recover or our business will be fine, and maybe you create a new market niche, whether it's the online consultations or e-design, those types of things, and then finding other niches to serve, that mindset is so critical for being able to come out of this. And even as a country, people are like, oh, it's a recession. It's a recession. Well, it's not the same. And I've shared this. It's not the same as like it was in the early 2000s and so forth, when the real estate market crashed. That was directly driven by the mortgages and that whole crisis. This is not that at all. This was from the virus and industries having to shut down. The economy was doing really well before this hit. And so our hope is that the companies will be able to get back to business. And I know there'll be some victims of the situation that won't be able to, come back. Some companies just aren't able to survive. But by and large, people want to open back up and have their businesses going. And so the expectation is by the fall, they're saying that, the country should be back on its feet and doing better. I did read that Pier 1 is probably going to go under, but I feel like that was happening before this even.
Yeah, Pier 1, that was
around.
the writing was on the wall with Yeah. Unfortunately, and that's such a shame because I really love Pier 1 and their discount thing and their discount codes, but the writing was already on the wall before COVID-19 hit. They had to shut down like 49% of the stores.
Right.
They can't keep it going on right now. JCPenney's just now went for bankruptcy. 250
Finally.
employees down to 3, right? 250 employees down to 3 per location. So a lot of people are not going to walk out of this the same
Well, the brick
way.
and mortars, and the brick and mortars, if they've been able to, invent themselves online, but they have to be reasonable with prices because I've shopped at Pier 1, but I'm not going to pay $40 for a pillow that I could buy for $19 at TJ Maxx. You know what I'm saying? So their prices, they weren't in line with what other areas, comparable things. So I think it's sad because I've, loved Pier 1. We've shopped there for years and years and years. But, as far as staging business owners, I haven't heard of anybody having to like shut down or, leave the industry. I haven't heard that. I'm hoping that's not happening to anybody with expenses. And you can ask. I mean, the fact that you didn't ask is great. We moved into our warehouse in November, and I did ask only because, on our family, we're all self-employed. And so when the cut hits, John's a realtor, I'm a stager. So it's like all of a sudden your income source is greatly depleted, and you need to be tracking, what was your expected revenue in April, for example, and then how much did you actually earn? And then be able to file a claim on that. And interestingly, my insurance did cover the virus. So for the time, but they just dropped that. They sent me a thing April 20th that as of this date, we no longer cover viruses. They actually put that in there. I'm like, too bad, so sad. You did cover it. And so when I have a claim, I'm going to file it because it was in existence when this happened. I'm sure that they're finding that they're looking at big payouts to potential clients. And May, there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of proposals and so forth, but the volume isn't where it should be. So being able to track that, and it doesn't make me scared or nervous. It's just, I'm just waiting for sort of the floodgates to open. And I feel like here in Colorado, June will be our March as far as people, a lot of houses coming on the market. Someone was asking, do you see that sellers are lowering prices that help the sale? Do you see real estate prices will change drastically? I think it depends on the market. I do expect in most areas, real estate will slow somewhat. There's, fewer buyers out right now because of the restrictions. That's going to impact sales. And, people have to be reasonable with their prices. They can't just overprice it. So there will be a correction, and but I don't think it's going to be this massive, drastic drop. I think it's just more realistic. There's still low inventory in our market, so there's not a lot of houses for sale. So the ones that look good and are priced right are selling. And so as more houses come on the market, we may have a glut of listings, and then that'll cause the market to soften a little bit. So how about in Long Beach, Kevin? Are you seeing shift in prices dropping, or?
Prices are staying the same, and we are actually getting above asking prices results for staged properties. The last one I just did was 600 square feet, 2-bedroom, 1.5 bathroom, sold for $18,000 over asking price in the first day. Second property I've done in Buena Park, $65,000 over asking price within 2 days. Full stage at nearly $1 million price point. So we know that staging is still working and it's still getting those over asking prices. The ones that are not being staged are the ones that are just sitting there forever now. So you need to get them staged. And then in conjunction with getting a very good comprehensive marketing package using video, camera, and Matterport. Those three are the three essential tools that will sell the property in conjunction with staging.
Interesting you point that out, because I think a lot of stagers, you think about what can I do to add to my business niche. Photography is an easy one to add to our suite, whether you have a photographer that you control as far as bringing them onto the team and having them available to photograph the properties you stage as a benefit of working with you, and that saves the realtor a step. And of course you would charge for that additional, or you have somebody on the team that has that skill set. And so, my daughter, she has been studying photography, so she has the equipment. We got the little 360-degree camera tool thing with the software, so we can do the dollhouse effect. So it's not a Matterport, it's the different tech, but that we've added that to our arsenal for two reasons. One, just to make it more convenient for the realtors, and it's also an additional income stream. But two, I'm sick and tired of hearing our photographer is going to be there at 1, you need to be done. And on the day of staging, even though it says in our agreement, pictures must be scheduled a day following staging. And so the photographers are, I guess, pretty rigid in their schedules, and they're like, my only time slot is this. So then they come back to us as the stager and tell us when we have to be done, and that puts too much pressure on us. And so being able to take that in-house, then we will control the timing, which will take the pressure off of us. So that was the two reasons why we decided to do that. And so what are you seeing in your market, Andrea, for, has there been a shift? I know, well, first of all, I know that Chicago or Illinois in general was having a hard time selling even before this. So what has happened since?
I know that we still have one property that I did with Moana, and that one, there was something with an issue with the first client, and then the second one, it seems like now the closing date is going to be in June. So, it's taking longer for sure. And I think she did take a little drop in price too. Like, that Illinois is, it was already happening before. So yeah, it's no different now. And by the conversation I had yesterday with our other, stagers, they were saying also like $700,000 houses, they're selling like for 400, 500,000. So it's, but this was already happening before. There was,
right.
So it was not just because we're going through this now, but that's another layer of, so there is definitely something.
And I'm surprised too, because, and I love Chicago area, so I'm not sure what is going on with that market, but I knew before this ever happened, it's been struggling since last year. And so I'm not sure what the issue, if it's taxes, property taxes. I know those are fairly high there, like New York. So that's a shame. So I'm hoping that the, economy there improves so that houses will sell. Because I know that there was someone that is in Illinois. Can't remember her name, but she's moving out of state, and I think they had an offer on their place, and I believe something happened with the transaction. I think they sold it, but now they don't know what they're doing as far as job and where they're going to go, where they're going to land. And so it's an uncertain time for a lot of people. And I love that you're partnering with people from your chapter. You mentioned Moana's name a couple times, and Moana Maurer. So she's with the Chicago chapter. So you guys have such a great collaborative group there, which is so important. And I know it is family. So being able to stay connected and being, and going back to the whole thing about being positive, if you're, normal family and so forth, if they don't really understand what we do. And, if they're not able to support you in the way you need it, your colleagues definitely are here for you, which is really great. So Theresa, what's happening with the Florida market? I think you kind of talked a little bit about it, but have you noticed any kind of a shift?
I think it's slowed a little bit, but it's still relatively selling well. The homes are really selling well. And I think they're, from me looking at the picture, some of the online pictures, I could see that the homes are selling without it being staged, like with homeowners furniture. They're moving. They definitely are moving. I think they definitely get more with the staging, but I'm definitely seeing that some of the homes are definitely moving. I think the homeowners are getting a little savvy here, making the properties look good. I mean, you could tell it's a homeowner that staged it, but they're definitely moving. So, I kind of did think about it, and I talked to June about it a little bit yesterday, about adding to my service, becoming an agent. And I didn't know, a lot of it has to do with, waiting on an agent to get to the property so I can get in. I can't stand that when I say I'm going to be there. And then they're like, oh, I'm a half hour away. It's like, oh gosh, this is so frustrating. So, and also to farm the MLS, you know, to kind of look for the properties that way. I know a lot of agents do that. So I am thinking about going that route, you know, just to have that as an added service. And I think Andrea did speak on it as well. You know, adding the online stuff to the site, to my website, that was something that, you know, I definitely move forward to do because I think it's going to stay. I don't think it's going away. So you know, I don't want to miss out on the opportunity of adding services to the business. So,
yeah, I think you're right too. I think that the online, I had a couple of clients that just, they didn't want the online. They insisted it was for occupied consultation. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to break the law to come into your house just because you insist on an in-person. I said, I don't want to risk your safety or my team's. And they were sort of like belligerent about it. And I didn't get in their face like, do you realize what you're asking me to do goes against the mandate? I said, there's no reason not to just provide us the information, the pictures and so forth. And then, you know, we do a detailed analysis. It's, you know, it works great. But I was sort of surprised at a couple of the clients that just, you know, oh, well, if you can't come in person, we don't want to do it. But I think you're right that, you know, there are certain price points that are going to sell. You know, the houses look pretty good. I feel like they, of course, would sell for more when they're professionally staged.
I agree.
We just staged a house yesterday. The team did. It was on the market, I think, for 40 days, 30 or 40 days, no offers. And I think it's about a $500,000 price point. So staging turned out great. And so while the team's staging, this realtor shows up with buyers. And so my niece, who's on the, you know, the team, she calls me. She's like, there's this realtor here who's trying to get in the house. I said, she's not allowed in the house. So I had to get her on the phone and say, you know, for safety reasons, for COVID, and also for liability reasons with my insurance, you are not allowed in that house. You need to come back when we're done. Well, you know, the agent should have put no showings. I said, you're right. They probably should have put no showings. But the fact is, you're not coming in the house. And then I'm like, take the key and don't, you know, because I had the mover set up first and then the creative. So before the creatives came, I said, you know, keep the key, because I didn't want this realtor coming back and trying to sneak in with just the furniture, because I know it's just like frosting or cake with no frosting. And so she tried to guilt me by saying, you know, oh, well, you know, they might want to make an offer, but now they're not going to see the house. So that's too bad for this homeowner. And I'm like, well, you know, maybe you guys will come back later tonight. So she hung up, and then sure enough, they came back later. She texted me, are you guys done yet? We would like to see the house. And so, but I said, because they had not only for that reason, but it's also the sellers had paid us to stage. So I said, so the next set of eyeballs for buyers are going to be when this property stage. It's not going to be midway through with chaos. But I'm just sort of surprised. Yeah. So this one, there are houses that are sitting longer, and that'll be to our benefit for staging, because they'll be calling to get those properly prepared.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
So you have to wrap up.
Market staging really, really works. We've seen it, Jenny. You and I have seen this. In the slow market, we never were busier, more productive. And then all of a sudden, now it's a hot time, even productive. Now all of a sudden, we're going to COVID-19, even more productive. It's just going to keep happening. The staging is just required now. People are still looking for it. So, I mean, staging is just it's very recession proof. It really is.
It's one of the only industries, you know, real estate and staging in general, because when the market's slower, people are like, I need to do more to get my house to get the attention. So business should increase. Some of the concerns people had with the whole virtual world, you know, will virtual staging replace us? No, I think that they might have had an uptick in people using them because of this, but that'll go back down, is my belief. Yeah. And because it's still the same old story. Yeah, maybe the photos look good online, but then they walk in the house and, you know, we had gotten this whole thing on one of the Facebook groups of, you know, I'm adding it to my thing and people buy the houses sight unseen. And to me, buying a house sight unseen is you close the deal and you never step foot in the house. That's not happening. It's they're making an offer, and this is whether COVID-19 or whatever. It's like if it's a competitive market and you have buyers that are vying for, there's not a lot of inventory, and you have people that are trying to get a house and they're bidding against 12 other people for a property. These particular buyers are saying to their agent, put an offer in all these different properties that come up that meet their parameters. Just let's just see if we can even get an opportunity to come to the table. And then, of course, they're going to go in person and look at the house. And so when they do, that house better look like it did online, where there's a big fat letdown and that buyer may end up walking away. So I don't see that we're going to be replaced with virtual staging. I do think we need to keep an eye on that. And The people that are providing it aren't trained. I mean, I get solicited by I think they think I'm a real estate agent or something. I get solicited by them. A lot of people from out of country, and it annoys me because staging is not just putting some pictures of furniture in a room. There's a whole lot more that goes into it. And sometimes I think we make it look so easy that people think like, gosh, anybody could do that, right?
Right.
So we need to be better at explaining our process and why we are worth the value that we bring to the table. So Linda says, Kevin, you're fortunate to be in California where people pretty much know staging is necessary. We're still working to educate in the Midwest.
That's true.
Which is true. Yeah. And it is all about education and keeping at the forefront. So, use the statistics to help justify and back up the need for staging. And, no matter what the market's doing, there'll always be agents that are like, oh, that doesn't work. And then there'll be some that are like, I'm a believer. So you're just looking for the ones that want to do something different. And now is the perfect time to expand your client base, reach out. I actually got a text message from one of my agents just checking in to see how I was doing. So I thought that's really smart. Yeah. We should all be doing that with our clients. Just read, hey, just was thinking about you. Hope you're doing okay. And I'm not soliciting them for business at all, but I'm just thinking about them. And so again, since we have time to do things like that, think about how you can reach out to your clients and let them know that you are thinking about them, and that'll put you at top of mind. And so I thought that was really smart for this person to be doing that. So I was going to copy that. So whether it's a little handwritten note or a text message, just something to reach out one-on-one to your clients is important. So any last thoughts to share with our audience?
Take the leap of faith.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now is the time to do it. In your career span life, you're asked to take leaps of faith. Mm-hmm. And you know what? They're uncomfortable, but you do it and you always land. Mm-hmm. Now is the time to do it. If you've got that and you feel it and it feels safe, make that leap. You're going to land, and you're going to land perfectly fine. The world needs more stagers right now, right? Right now, we need a lot more of them in there right now. We don't need more of the virtual stagers. So take that leap of faith, adapt, change yourself to what is required to now. That's the beauty of this industry, is you can adapt and you can change, you can grow and you can shrink. It does not matter. You can do all of it. I've done it plenty of times just to make sure things, we survive. We're still productive and we're still profitable. So use that and make sure you know that you have that in your ability as a stager, as an owner of a staging company. Shrink and grow as you need to do it. This is the perfect time to do it.
Excellent. Excellent. How about you, Andrea?
Yeah, I agree with Kevin. That was so inspiring what you said. Yeah, I'm with you. Like, even if you start an initiative that at first feels like, oh, you're not getting many leads or it's not happening, don't feel like it's a failure. Maybe you didn't find the right channel, and then you need to be able to move and tweak a little bit here and there and keep trying. Keep trying. At some point, something big could just land on your hands. So I also want to help others. I have a page there, the Insta Stagers. So, and I also have an engagement group. So if somebody wants to post something, I wanted, them to feel free to just post there. So we all, support each other and go there and like the Instagram post. So Instagram boosts you. Instagram is the new Yelp. So it portrays our work in a different way. I can give you some tips like what you can post there, because I'm just digging in like what you can do there during this time that we don't have all that much new content. So what things that you can do. Just leave me a comment there or send me a message. I don't know. I can add you to this engagement group and we grow together. We fly together.
We should have you. I should have you back on the show to talk about Instagram. So she has Insta Stagers, which is a page on Facebook. And the goal is to understand Instagram, but it's also to like and follow other people's profiles on Instagram there and so forth, so that you get more exposure. So being able to understand how to, and understand how to do that. So we'll have you back on. I think that's a great topic. I use Instagram, and then my daughter, who's younger, they're all over Instagram. I'm like, well, teach me, why did you do this or why did you do that? And I now have the little buttons I can file things on Instagram accordingly. But that whole thing is just, I still don't know if I'm doing it right. Like I post something, then I'm like, post this to my story, then I got to go find it, and then I got to put it into one of my little categories. And I don't know if I'm doing that correctly or not, but I just figured it out by dumb luck. And it'd be nice to have like a tutorial to show people this is what you need to do with your posts, because it's not just post it. You can actually save it and make it as part of your story, and you can create little, you know, I have like 7 or 8 different little things on the bottom where I can file stuff. Anyway, so I'm not even explaining the terminology well. So I know enough to be dangerous, and I would like to learn more and understand, because you're right that Instagram is a particular age group uses that, and they're the ones that are moving into the buyer mode. They're going to be the largest group of buyers right now, so you have to go where they are. So excellent.
Yeah.
And then how about you, Theresa? Any last words?
Yeah, I mean, I am a big believer in, you know, a lot of people, they get inside their head. They definitely get inside their head, and it stops them from moving forward. So I always say to them that, you know, if you're going there and you're believing that you can, it's so easy to believe you can. So why choose to go negatively when you can just, you know, keep an upbeat kind of, you know, frame of mind? Just be positive, you know? Get your heart and your head on the same level, and you'll be fine. But always move forward. You got to move forward, like Kevin said. Just whatever, you just keep moving. And Andrea, I want to reach out to you because one of my favorites is Instagram, because it's very visual. So
I love Instagram.
On that one, yeah.
We can go
Instagram is
back
my
and talk about
favorite.
Instagram next time. Well, and then Karen's asking about TikTok. And TikTok is, you know, the younger kids are using that. And so it's if you're an early adapter of that, and you get a large following, it could be to your benefit in the future. But a lot of the videos they're not professional. But you can, you know, we have a TikTok profile, so I'm not really using that as much. But depending on where that platform goes in the future, you know, it's not a bad idea to have exposure on that. And then there'll be something else that comes along that we'll all be like, what's this? What does this do? And, you know, will it be like a MySpace where it eventually disappears, or will it be something that takes hold? So staying on top of all the social media things, but knowing where to go and where to post. And I think the mindset we should touched on, Theresa, is super important. You know, your attitude, do what you need to do to keep a positive attitude. And of course, if you're having a rough day, you know, get yourself back in alignment, talk to a colleague, call somebody, you know, message somebody just to kind of get yourself back on track, because you don't want to end up in a negative rut, because that'll then impact your ability to attract the clients that you want. So I appreciate you guys being on. We've had a great segment, and we'll definitely have you back. And I love everything you guys shared, and I hope that those of you watching were able to benefit from hearing from colleagues. And just, you know, the country's pretty much represented. You got Kevin on the West Coast, Theresa's on the East, Andrea's in the middle, and I'm sort of in the, I guess, mountain region. So, you know, you could have heard what's going on with our different markets and how staging is either continued in real estate or it slowed. And so we're all in the same boat for the most part, and just keep rowing forward, right?
Yes.
Row your boat forward.
Move forward. Take that leap of faith. Do it.
Yep. Yes. That's great. All right. Thanks, you guys. Love you all. Thank you for being on. We'll be back next week with another great segment. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.